Now, one combines poetry, dance, music, and song, while the other is a satirical drama of a bigoted parent who tries to have a Muslim boy expelled from school for befriending her daughter. The two productions, titled In Skin and Syria, which will headline the Artscape Acclaimed New Voices program, is running at the Artscape Arena from Wednesday the 19th to the 29th of October. According to creative manager for Artscape Theatre Mandla Mbothwe, New Voices is a developmental program that seeks to give voice to new theatre makers, directors, choreographers and scriptwriters. The creators of In Skin, Mbongeni, Mtshali and Quanita, who is the director of Syria, joins us from our Seapoint studios to tell us more about their productions. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Let's start with Mbongeni. Just give us a brief synopsis of In Skin. What is it about? What inspired the production? Mbongeni?
Good morning. So basically the production kind of takes off from this idea of what it is to kind of learn a language. And how that is not just about learning a language, but is also a way of entering into particular cultural spaces. So very, very loosely, it's based on my story and, kind of being at a private all-boys school in late 80s Natal. But it draws on the various stories that the kind of cast members brought into the process. So it's a workshop production in some ways as well.
Quanita, let me bring you into this conversation. Give us a brief synopsis, same way about Syria and what inspired it.
Well, Syria is written by Faith Kinnear, who is the young woman who's in the production, and it tells the story of kind of xenophobic attitudes at a high school in Cape Town, and particularly Islamophobic attitudes. So there's a young student who comes to the school. He's originally Pakistani, but he's come from the UK. And because of all kinds of Islamophobic and xenophobic attitudes at the high school, tensions arise where this boy is basically associated with terrorism. So the play looks at these attitudes and where they come from and the impacts that they have.
As a director here, Quanita, you're working with casts like Gary Naidu, Peter Fourie and Faith Kinnear. How careful were you in telling the story, or what was your directional direction to your cast?
The thing was just tell the story. It's not my. I'm not trying to judge. I'm not trying to make judgments. What I really want to do is tell the story. And it was so brilliantly written by Faith Kinnear, who is the young actor that you'll see on your screens. So for me, it was just about bringing these actors together and tapping into their own experiences of being othered. So that was the central question that I asked them as a director. Have you ever felt like you were an outsider because of the way you looked, the way you spoke, because of your hair, because of anything? Have you ever been the victim of some kind of prejudice unfairly, and can you bring that to tell the story?
Mbongeni, the message behind In Skin and the actual title of this production is so multi-layered. Take me through the thought processes of what you wanted to say with this production, but also what you wanted to say with the title of this production.
Well, the title is kind of a play on words, obviously. So it's this idea of being in your skin, quite literally, and the multiple ways, that comes to mean different things for people of different races in this country, but especially black people. This idea that you kind of wear your history on your skin. But then it's also a play on this idea of being in kin, which is within a particular family unit, within a particular kind of social grouping. So it's a way of kind of capturing both senses of what it is to kind of be located in the world. I'm perhaps a bit more of a postmodernist than I should be, so I enjoy silly wordplay like that. But yeah.
And then you go on and you use a multidimensional medium. You use poetry, you use dance, you use music, you use song to create and tell In Skin. That in itself must be challenging.
No, it is. But it also tends to be how I experience the world, because, we kind of receive things in multiple different kind of modalities, I suppose. You move through the world with all of these things coming at you all the time, and that's how we understand it. It's also how I tend to remember things, is that I remember things through smell, through sound, not necessarily just visual, kind of memory. So I kind of wanted to really capture the sense of the multiple senses that are at work and how our memory of things comes through in these ways that can be unexpected sometimes. So how smell can provoke a particular memory, how a particular sound can provoke a memory. And so I'm not really interested in kind of a linear narrative per se in this play, so much as I am in these kind of experiential moments and how they thicken around a particular piece of music or a memory or any number of things, yeah.
Quanita, let me bring you in this conversation because the platform New Voices, the actual program that benefits directors, theatre makers like yourself, it's innovative in the way that we are getting to see new things.
Yes, absolutely. So it's not entirely new. It's a kind of 2.0 version of a program that was started many years ago in the previous administrative kind of wing of Artscape, and it used to be called New Writers. And then when Mandla and his team kind of grabbed the reins of this program, there was this discussion around writing and what it means to write. And often theatre making is not always text-based. It's not always about people who write scripts, and that in fact we come from a very rich history theatrically of devising and workshopping and collaborative ways of making theatre. So there was this idea that perhaps the focus needed to shift and it needed to go from new writers to new voices. So this would necessarily encompass this idea of theatre making through alternative forms. So for example, In Skin was devised and workshopped amongst the cast, whereas my production Syria came by way of a text. So there was the beginnings of a script that we still worked in rehearsals, but there was very much, it was text-based, it was a script. What's amazing about this initiative is that it brings people together who otherwise might not necessarily have had the opportunities to work together. So it's very dynamic, it's constantly evolving, it's shifting. That entire building, that space is being energized with young actors, older actors, theatre makers. It's this busyness, which is quite wonderful.
That's fantastic, guys. Unfortunately, we run out of time, but I'm going to urge everybody to go and watch the two productions. That's Mbongeni and Mtshali, who is the writer of In Skin, while Quanita Adams is the director of Syria. The two productions are part of the Artscape's acclaimed New Voices program, which runs at the Artscape Arena from Wednesday the 19th to the 29th of October.